Okay, welcome to Algebra 2 Notes 4.3. This is the extension page, and I put these in here to help you with problems 17 through 20 on your homework. So what we have here is a multiplication, and inside this multiplication, we've got some unknown values, x and y here, and we have to figure out what values would go in there to make this true. So we're solving for x and y is what we're doing here. Now, what we learned in the last section is that we're going to multiply the row in the first matrix by the column in the second to get the corresponding row and column in the other one. So the ones I have highlighted in pink here, that's the top row of the first matrix, and it's the only column in the second matrix. So I'm looking for the top row only column number, and that would be the negative 13. So now what you do is you multiply these in the order that they're presented from left to right in the case of the row, x and top to bottom on the column, so x times 4. And then the next one you move over, 5 times negative 1, and that will equal the corresponding row and column on the other side. Okay, so if we solve for x here, you're going to have 4x equals negative 8, which then gives x equals negative 2. All right, now let me erase the markings I have up there, and we're going to figure out how to use the other part of this. Okay, if you switch to the bottom row and multiply by the only column, you'll get the bottom row only column over here. So now let's multiply starting on the left for the row and the top for the column. So negative 12. Then when you move on, you go y times negative 1 would be minus y, and that would equal the bottom row only column on the other side, which is 18, negative 18. Okay, so what we're going to do here is add 12 to both sides and then divide both sides by negative 1, or simply change all the signs, and now we know what x and y are. Okay, another example of that. What we're going to do here is we're going to multiply top row times the only column to get the top row only column here. And that would be x times 2. And then 3 times negative 3. And that will equal that negative 15. Pardon me, I have to put the negative in front. Okay, add 9 to both sides. And divide by 2. Okay, the next thing we turn our attention to is the bottom row only column. Bottom row of the first matrix, only column of the second. And we're looking for the bottom row only column of the other side. Okay, so next you go negative 3x times 2 is negative 6x. And then 2y times negative 3 would be the next pair. And that'll equal 12. Well, if we hadn't done the previous work, we'd be stuck. But we know that x is negative 3. So we get 18 minus 6y equals 12. A little sloppy there, excuse me. And subtracting 18, dividing by negative 6, we find out that y has to equal 1. Okay, so 2 down, 2 to go. All right, in this next pair of problems, I'm just going to set them up. And once I've set them up, I'll give you some advice on finishing it. Okay, we're going to multiply the top row by the only column to get this 11, which is in the top row only column. So we start out with a 9x. Moving on to the right-hand side and moving down, you get plus 4y. And that would give 11. Then we're going to shift gears to the bottom row this time. Bottom row times the only column gives the bottom row only column over there. And this times this would be negative 3x. Plus 8y would be the next one. and that's negative 41. So I would solve this by elimination. And just in case you're not seeing it, if you multiply this line by 3 here, you'll, on the next line, be able to cancel the 9x that we started with a new negative 9x that we would get. Okay, one more like this. Top row times only column gives top row only column. And this is, by the way, hinting at where we're headed with this. 4x plus 1y equals 19. And then when you switch gears to the bottom row times the only column, you end up with negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 15. Now I would solve this one either by elimination or substitution. And the reason this would be a good candidate for the substitution version is there's a 1y on that top line. Okay, so that does it for the extension. If you're curious, well, I don't have the answers in front of me. I'm not as concerned about you getting the correct answers on your notes here as knowing the process to get going down that road. Okay, so this does it for the 4.3 extension.